Since we can now recognize arguments, let's take this a little bit further. How should we analyze them? First, we need to identify the logical relationship between premises and conclusion. We can then proceed to evaluate the argument. So, to put this a little more precisely, we need to first reconstruct, that is to say, identify and order the argument's parts, and then we evaluate the argument. And how do we do that? Well, we ask ourselves, do the premises really succeed in justifying the conclusion? There is a recipe for reconstructing arguments. First, decide whether you have an argument by ensuring that there's a conclusion and at least one premise. Then arrange the parts of the argument so that the relationship between the conclusion and its supporting statements becomes clear. This chart gives you an idea of how the decision tree for argument analysis works. Take a look at it. In analyzing arguments, the first thing you need to do is decide whether you have one. If you do, the initial step is to reconstruct it and then to go on to assess it. So, how does a standard argument reconstruction work? It's actually pretty simple. Start by identifying the conclusion and the premises. Remember that the conclusion is the main point that the arguer is urging upon you. Then place the conclusion as the last line of the argument and draw a line above it. If you like, you can write therefore or so in front of the conclusion. And finally, list and number the premises above the line over the conclusion. Let's do this once again to be sure that we understand the method. First, write the conclusion at the bottom and place a line above it. Then, list the premises above the line. The information above the line serves as support for the claim that is below the line. This is the standard format for reconstructing arguments. Here's a really simple example of an argument reconstruction. Here's the argument. She's not home because the lights are on and the car is gone. Okay. It's clearly an argument. There's a relationship of justification between claims where one claim is supported by the others that provide backing for it. The first thing we do is to identify the conclusion. Specifically, she's not home, and we draw our line. Then we place the supporting statements, that is to say, the premises, above the line. And as an option, we can add a conclusion indicator word, and voila! We've constructed the argument or reconstructed the argument, I should say, in standard form.